So we have the original engine from the truck, the one we decided to gamble on, the rollover transmission and rollover transfer case, all assembled. I'm going to drop it down in the frame. This is the frame from the rollover truck, along with the radiator support and cooling. Need a little help to get it to its home. Now we're going to install the DEF tank. Plug it in. Plug in the injector. Put the cover on. We're going to drop our new cab onto our frame. Trying to line up the frame with the cab. The go jacks are usually pretty good, but they were a little too small for these wheels, so it was kind of a pain. And the DEF tank is in our way again, so we have to move that arm for the lift a little bit. Now we're good. Now we can bolt our cab down. Now that our cab is bolted down, we can put the doors on. When you do this, you gotta plan ahead a little bit. I had the bolts lying there on the floor so that I could just reach over with one hand, hold the door with the other. You don't want to get the door up there and then start searching around for bolts, find out you can't reach them. So you just latch the back, screw a couple bolts in, and then tighten them down. On these doors, I just lined up the old paint marks and everything fit just like it was supposed to. Didn't take long to line these up at all. You don't always get lucky like that, but I always try and line up the paint marks first and go from there. Sometimes it works. Make sure they close properly. On to the next door. Fits nice, our caps are nice. And we can put our driver's door together, at least enough that we can put it on and latch it. So we're going to put the latch in. Put the outer handle in. Now we'll put the hinges on. These bolts have shoulders on them, so you don't want to run them in real fast. Run them in slow and they'll line themselves up. They center themselves. And then you can tighten them up. If you run them in fast, sometimes they'll catch on that shoulder and not be all the way in. And put our door on. Same way as the others. Latch the back. Put the bolts in the front. Now because the door is empty, I'm going to adjust it so it pops up a little bit, so that when I put the rest of the weight of the window and door panel and window regulator, it should line up. We're going to throw the fenders on. Put all the bolts in. Then start lining it up, tighten it down. Check all our gaps. Go on to the next one. Hate it when I can't find the tool I just had 3 seconds ago. Now we're going to put the hood on. I'm by myself. I had to get a little creative. There's a lot of different ways to do this by yourself. This was the fastest. Bolting the hinges in. The prop rod in there, get it to the right height, and then we can put the springs in there to hold the hood up by itself. Those also have shoulders, so you don't want to run them in really fast. Make sure it latches without pulling the hood to one side or the other. Everything lined up, first try. Now we're going to do a little body work. And now I've lost interest in body work. Okay, we're going to switch over our steering column because our old column is brown and our original column is black. Not to mention we need to change the ignition lock and the security system resistor inside, or it won't start. So we're going to switch all that stuff over now. We'll pull the airbag out, change the wiring harness, pretty much everything except for the column itself. My other column was collapsed, so can't be reused. These sensors, the steering wheel angle sensors, also go bad whenever they get hit, so I'm not even going to mess with that. I'm going to leave the original, or the used one in there so that I know I get a good one. Pull the top cover off there. The boot for the shifter. Disconnect some of the wires. The other cover just falls off. A couple more shroud pieces. I like to keep the ignition locked as long as I can, because if it turns with no steering shaft in there, I risk breaking the clock spring. So if it's locked, it won't spin. We still have to flip it over and pull the airbag out, which I'll do that right now. To get the airbag out, there's these 2 metal clips. You just reach in there and push them to the inside. Disconnecting all the wires from the steering wheel. Take the nut off to hold the steering wheel on. Sometimes they come off, sometimes you need to help them a little. Before we take the clock spring out, kind of put some tape on there to hold it in place so it won't spin. Pull the snap ring out. It slides right up. Now it doesn't matter if it rotates. You can pull the ignition lock out. Turn it to start. There's a hole in the top here. It slides up. Pull the multi-function switch off. That's the pass lock sensor. Ignition switch just pulls out. There's a couple tabs if you can depress them. It comes out a lot easier. That's it. Now we can start putting all of our old stuff back on this one. We'll start with our ignition switch. Changing the shifter handle because the other one, that boot, had a little tear in it. Putting our original one back on. I can't claim it's better than before the accident if it's not perfect. Put our black covers back on. So now we're going to throw the steering column back in the truck. This is a lot easier with a little help, but no one's around right now, so this milk crate's going to be my friend. Put our shifter cable on, plug in a couple of our harnesses here. Put that metal support in there. Put our duct back on. Now we can put the trim panel on. And we're going to put the fuse box under the hood back in. So we got the bracket in. All these plugs just clip into it. And we can latch the other part down on top of it. In case you're wondering how I know where they go, they're color coded on the bottom of that cover, and they only fit in one place. Now for one of the biggest improvements of the entire weekend, you can get rid of these stupid things. Normally you don't want to pull on them like that because they can crack, but I don't care. Of course, because I was going to throw them out, I managed to save all of them. I'll leave all the rest of the two-sided tape on there until after I wash it. If I try taking it off now, there's a lot of dirt in there, I risk scratching the paint. Now we're going to put the interior back in. The seat pillar trim in, run the seat belt through. Just clips in. One screw at the top. Put the little cover on. Same thing on the other side. I'll put the rear seats in. Set them down. Latch the back. Fish the seatbelt through there. Put our jack bracket on. Tighten it down. And put our other rear seat in. Slide the back down. Now we can tighten all the bolts down. Those are the two bolts that hold the seats together. And now like the 8 that hold the seats down. The seat belts in. Now we're going to put the front seat belts in. The retractors are from the used cab. And I just reused my belts because they're the wrong color. I have a video that shows you how to change those if you want to. Rebuilt ones cost about 75 bucks. New ones are 150. So between the two, I saved 150 bucks. And it was just a bonus that came with the cab. Now we're plugging them in. Put the lower trim panel on there. Do the same thing on the driver's side. That roll of tape is in there holding the door open, because I dropped the door check down inside the door when I pulled the door off. Top trim panel on. Line up the seat belt. And here's where my day went bad. But not too bad. Was able just to unscrew the rest of it with my fingers. No drilling required. Try it again. Alright, we got it this time. I'll put the lower panel on. That cover's on there. Now we can put our seats in. I do this now instead of before because now I have power to the truck so I can move the seats around. I just plugged them in. I put the seatbelt down in there. Bolt the back of the seats down. Bolt the seatbelt in. Plastic cover, snap it in. Put the headrests in. Now put the sill plate in. Trim panel on the bottom of the seat. Now we'll put the driver's seat in. Run the seatbelt down. Bolt the seat down. Now bolt the seatbelt in. Put that cover on the bottom to cover up the seat tracks. So it's been almost 2 years since this truck has run. So now it's time to see if we can make it run again.